Hello, folks. David Debato here, and Happy New Year to those that I haven't said Happy New Year to yet. Um, I've been kind of laying low throughout the holidays for personal reasons. I kind of got a little tired of what was going on and needed to spend some time, as they say, with family and you know, just kind of get away from the constant stress of dealing with what's going on here every day. And there's a lot going on every day. But in any event, this is the first of what I hope to be a series of solo solo live streams on my website, and I intend on offering them solely to subscribers, and very shortly, I hope, solely to paid subscribers. But for right now and for the near future, it's going to be available to all subscribers, whether they be free subscribers, free trial subscribers, or paid subscribers. Of course, I would love it if you would become a paid subscriber, because it's just me. There's no other crew or people who help me to do this, which is why I haven't been able to do it as often as I like. And I'm going to try to focus here on the website, on Substack, as opposed to YouTube. YouTube is a crapshoot. I hate YouTube. They're full of shit with their algorithms and their policies. I just really don't like YouTube. Yes, I post there. I need to get the word out, certainly, but I hate YouTube. So it's a long-winded way of saying that I'm going to try to concentrate solely, or not solely, but for the most part, here on Substack, on protecting the Republic, and this podcast, which I call the No Delusion Zone, for the simple fact that I don't allow any delusions, mostly from the far right, but from the far left, from the center, from wherever. I really don't like delusional speaking, conspiratorial speaking, theories, threats, nonsense, all of that. I try to keep that out of every interview that I do, every podcast that I do. So in any event, welcome. Oh, this cup can be yours. It's offered on my branded merch on the website, right on the top nav bar. And if you can see it, I know the lights are a little weird. Basically, it says Donald Trump, new dictator, same old shit. I drink from this every day so I can get a little bit of truth from a con man, from a liar. So I'd encourage you to look at the branded merch link at the top of my website here. There's sweatshirts, hoodies, cups like this, cell phone covers, and all kinds of good stuff like this. In any event, as I said, today is a solo live feed. I don't expect a whole lot of folks to see it right now. Hopefully the word will get out. But right now it's just an intro. It's a debut. And I think it's a good time because not only are a lot of things going on right now, mainly concerning the lunatic, demented individual currently occupying the White House, Donald Trump, but he just spoke at the International Economic Summit in Davos, Switzerland, and he was a raving lunatic, like he always is, but he's really gone off the deep end. I mean, he is suffering from dementia and God knows what else. I think he probably has had a stroke or two in the last several weeks. He looks terrible. He sounds worse. Not that he's ever sounded good, but look, he couldn't even get Iceland and Greenland straight. If you watch any clips at all from his speech in Davos, he kept referring to Greenland as Iceland. Yes, I know anyone can have a slip of the tongue. Anyone can mix up the names of people, countries, places. I get that. I've done it. You've done it. I understand. But he did it several times. And he didn't correct himself. Why? Because he didn't know he did it. That's the sign of some mental issues. Not to mention that if you showed a map to Donald Trump, he couldn't find Greenland. He couldn't find Iceland anyway. And he kept referring to ice or Greenland. See, there you go, Greenland as a ball of ice or something along those lines. So he had ice in his head, not to mention the immigration and customs enforcement goons. And so he just kept referring to Greenland as Iceland. Everybody was embarrassed in the audience. I'm sure nobody bothered to correct him, and he didn't correct himself. But aside from that, he continued with the unforgivable insults about NATO. And I just have to say this. Yes, it's been reported before, but I want to say it as a veteran, a combat veteran of the American military. He kept saying how if America was in an emergency, had an emergency, was under attack, NATO would never support us. What a lying sack of shit. After 9/11, the only time that Article 5 of the NATO Charter was enacted was then. And you know who the first two countries were that called for the enactment of Article 5 to come to the defense of the United States? Denmark and Canada. And Denmark has the highest per capita injury rate or casualty rate, shall I say, of any NATO country that's come to the defense of the United States. They were there for us in Afghanistan and Iraq. They lost more per capita than any country, including us, Denmark. And that's the country he keeps insulting. That's the country he keeps saying would never come to our defense and that they don't pull their own weight. You illiterate moron. Look, I know he doesn't know history, but when he insults one of our best and most long-standing allies who have sacrificed the most for us, the United States, it really pisses me off. And I can't imagine what the people of Denmark feel, especially the Danish veterans. I just had a conversation with somebody I greatly respect a couple of days ago. Very smart man, very good man, and not the biggest Trump supporter and a strong supporter of NATO. But we had a very strong disagreement about Trump and what's going on right now, because he didn't believe that Trump would really do anything serious to try to take Greenland away from Denmark. He certainly didn't believe in a military invasion. He didn't even think that Trump was going to raise tariffs or use economic warfare against Denmark or NATO in an effort to coerce them in giving Greenland to the United States. He said, after all, that Trump says a lot, but he does almost nothing from what he says. It's just Trump being Trump. I really hate that expression, by the way. And that's just not true. Need I tell you that Trump, just being Trump, threatened repeatedly over several months to invade Venezuela? And he did. He threatened to withdraw the United States from almost all international organizations, aid organizations, which he did. I believe over 30 of them, at least 24 or so, which has, by numerous credible reports, resulted in the death of millions of children, primarily in Africa. He threatened to dismantle the federal government. Did anybody ever hear or remember the word Doge? Elon Musk taking a chainsaw, literally, to the American federal government. Well, Trump threatened to do that, and he carried through. As a result, Doge, these young idiots, literally in their teens and young 20s, invaded, took over almost all American federal governmental institutions and hacked into the accounts of the Social Security Administration and the U.S. Treasury Department, as an example. And they stole, I'm going to say it, they stole the records, the financial and personal records of tens of millions of Americans illegally. God knows where they are. They literally wiped clean the database of the Social Security Administration and the Treasury, which has some of the most sensitive records of all Americans, and certainly within the federal government. So Trump threatened to do that, and he did it. He threatened to dismantle the Department of Education. He did it. Threatened to do away with the U.S. aid agency. He did it when he also withdrew from, as I said, a couple dozen other aid organizations. He's threatened to put his name on several institutions. He did it. Well, he's starting to do it. He put it on the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. He's threatening to name the Gulf of Mexico, that he calls the Gulf of America, the Gulf of Trump. He's threatening to call Greenland Trump land. I could go on. One more. He threatened to withhold military and other aid, intelligence sharing aid from Ukraine several months ago, and he did it. Why am I saying all this? Because the thought, the statements that Trump says a lot of things, but he rarely follows through, is absolute horse shit. He does do it. Why aren't we way past the time where people don't listen to the words of Trump and just keep saying that it's Trump being Trump, and realize that when he says something in a half joking way, he means it? And that it may not happen immediately, but it will happen. And at the very least, he's planting that idea into the heads of his sycophants, his cult members in MAGA, in the Congress, in the House, in the Senate, in the West Wing, so that they follow up on it and they do it. So I'm really, really tired of saying that Trump says a lot and does very little. He said a lot and he's done a lot. He's threatened to put the American military on the streets of American cities. That's happening. Whether it's in the form of the National Guard, the federalized National Guard, or now, as of today, as I speak, and I make this live stream, he's threatening to put the active duty American military in Minneapolis at the very least. He has given orders to muster 1,000, I believe, 1,500 military police from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to be ready for deployment to Minneapolis. These are active duty U.S. Army troops. He has threatened to declare martial law. Hasn't done that yet. All of this is preparation for that. Talking about martial law, I'm also really tired of people saying that, oh, he's threatened to cancel the next elections. He can never do that. He'll never do that. It's just talk. Well, I think I've demonstrated that his just talk usually turns into just action. He's talked about canceling the elections or not having a need for the elections several times now. That's Trump's way of projecting what he's going to do. He doesn't want to leave office. He knows that if he wasn't the president, if he isn't the president, number one, he may go to prison, but also he won't make any money. He won't make as much money. Look, the presidency for Donald Trump is one thing only. It's a grift. It's a way of making money for enriching himself. And of course, fulfilling his narcissism. Me. It's about me and money, the M&Ms. That's all. He doesn't give a damn about America or Americans. He doesn't give a damn about democracy or the Constitution. He doesn't understand them anyway. It's all about me and money, and why the world, especially Europe, and about 30 to 40% of Americans don't get that yet. I don't understand. It really disturbs me. It pisses me off. It upsets me. It gives me many sleepless nights. But it's a fact. They still don't get it. Look, I just saw an interview with Mark Rutte, the head of NATO. I don't like this guy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know he's got a lot of support, but I'm really, really tired of him kissing Trump's ass. After all the insults, all the threats that Trump made against NATO, against Europe, against Denmark, Greenland, and still today, even after there was an ambiguous deal or some kind of an agreement made about Greenland, Rutte just couldn't praise Trump enough. I'm not going to even paraphrase what he said, but basically kissed his ass, talked about American leadership, talked about Trump's leadership, and about all the good things that Trump did and is going to do that he can't say enough about President Trump. What an asshole. Look, the only way that Europe, NATO, and EU specifically are going to survive the Trump administration, the Trump era, is to grow and keep a backbone, a spine. Appeasement doesn't work. It doesn't work with dictators. We know this. It hasn't worked with Putin. It's not going to work with Trump. They need to stand up to him, not just behind closed doors. I'm tired of hearing that they all laugh at him and make fun of him and hate him behind closed doors, but in public, they genuflect and kiss his ring. Look, we're way over that. Stop it. In public, tell him that he's full of shit. Not with those words exactly, be a little diplomatic, but basically tell him that they're not giving in to him. Do what Carney did, Prime Minister Carney of Canada. He stood up to him. Canada is standing up to Trump. All of Europe needs to stand up to Trump. Call his bluff. Say they're not giving in to a bully, to a moron, to an illiterate, narcissistic, convicted felon. They're not going to do it. And if it means going along without America, without American support for NATO and the EU, yes, it's going to be really, really tough. But so what? Life's tough. Life's hard. They'll do it. America could go take a hike. And it's going to be harder for America in the long term if they do that than it is for Europe. I'm going to close on this for today, this new solo live stream. Another insult, one of the many, many insults and irrational actions that Trump recently took is this new board of peace that unfortunately was voted on in the UN. Not for this reason. It was made solely to oversee peace in Gaza. But Trump has pretty much taken this over himself, this board of peace. And if anyone's interested, please go online and look up the agreement that he is talking about for the formation of his board of peace, which essentially is an alternate UN for which Donald Trump is, of course, in charge forever. And he makes all the rules, and no one can say anything about it. He's king. He's dictator. But I'm going to close on this. This board of peace is you can only join this by invite from King Trump himself. And the first two people that he invited were Vladimir Putin and Viktor Orban, two dictators. What a piece of work this Trump is. What a danger he is to America and the rest of the world, especially the Western world. I hope it ends soon. I hope it doesn't end violently. But at this point, folks, I can't make any predictions how the Trump dynasty is going to end or when it's going to end. Because once he goes, and he will go, MAGA, I believe, unfortunately, is here to stay. It makes me nauseous. It makes me embarrassed to be an American, but it is a fact. The J.D. Vances and Marco Rubios and Pam Bondis, they're going to continue. And there we have it. What is today? January 22nd, 2026. As I said, I hope to do a lot of these, a lot more of these, even these, especially solo live streams just by myself. I do a live stream with my buddy, Jonathan Fink, on Fridays, and we have guests. That will continue. And in fact, we're going to increase the live streams there and get some and have some really, really great guests. But as far as here, solely on Substack, it's going to be moi. And I promise it won't be as disjointed as this one, because this is the first one. I wanted to make sure that it got out there, because I have had a problem posting live streams to Substack because it's not the easiest platform in which to post live streams. They've only recently changed their software and how you can do this. So this is a test, actually. So please write in, let me know what you think. And if at all else, become a trial subscriber, 30-day trial subscription. If you like what you see, and read and hear, of course, I would encourage you to become a paid subscriber. I need all the help I can get. I am one of the voices of the opposition to the dictatorial oligarchy, tech bro oligarchy that is taking over the United States of America, and I'm not going anywhere. I hope you don't either. So, look, you all have a good rest of your day. Take care, stay safe, and stay sane.